Jarvis Biker. What's the damn date today? April 26th. Oh my, we got her rolling today. Just did a little work here on the V-Strom. We put I decided that the gearing was too high. I spec'd it out too tall. So I went to a 46 tooth rear sprocket, and we're just on our test drive, so we'll see how it goes. Something new, something new, something new. Max lens mods for both views. When I got back from the trip I'm about to describe to you, it was apparent to me that I needed better video to relay what I was seeing. So I ordered them immediately. They came in last night. I installed them. Everything looks like it's working good, so all good. This is a prelude to the series of videos that you're going to see. The result of a 3-week vacation that Linda and I took with our RV and the Harley. I guess the preamble is the trip was a success. Amazingly great time we had, just the two of us, and well, it wasn't without some hairy moments, but so there were some YouTubers that got visited. There were some others that didn't answer their phone. And there were some bad things that happened. Not bad, well, I guess you could say they were bad things. There were things that you wouldn't really want on a big road trip like we were having. But everybody that was involved made it okay. So we'll just say that it was a little bit tough in certain points, but we muddled through, and the whole thing was a major success. On saying that, it was the most expensive trip we've ever been on. Diesel prices were absolutely astronomical, pushing in some areas up to almost $5 a gallon, US gallon. But we had expected, I just didn't expect that I would drive as far as we actually did. So that contributed to the higher amount of cost to this little excursion that we went on. What do we got here? KTM. Just watching this van here for a second. Alright, so let's just do a quick run through description of the trip. We'll put this at the start of the first video, and then we'll start the series. So the 31st of March, the trip started. We loaded up the trailer and we headed out, and we made it across the border at Detroit, went to Partway down through Ohio, and we stopped just at a trucker's rest area. Just pulled in for the night. Grabbed a few Z's up early in the morning. Just jumped back in the truck, went and got breakfast, and out we went. So made it to Kentucky. We were down at Elizabethtown. We just picked up a bottle of Kentucky bourbon and we headed on down the road, and we got to Germantown, Tennessee, which is a suburb of Memphis. Met up with Memphis Mike and had a first time meeting with Chris Caliente. That's right, Mr. Caliente, the big Goldwing YouTuber. And spread the love. They've all got a t-shirt, Driver's Biker t-shirt. Hooked them all up. They were happy with that. Chris's friend was with them, and he hadn't watched any of my channels, but we kind of hooked each other up, and now we're watching each other's videos, and I love their videos, so you know, I give them a little love here and there. But anyway, so we stayed a couple of days there. We took a side trip to Nashville down on the Strip. We went to Jason Aldean's new restaurant. Hung out there for the afternoon, had an early dinner. Rolled it on back to Memphis. The next morning we were loaded and we were on our way south. We went, well, west. We went across into Arkansas over the Mississippi. Another truck rest area at night in Arkansas, and then we were to our first destination near San Antonio. Just a boondocker's welcome site. We stayed there for 3 days. And great site. People were great. Was able to get the drone up. Just a freelance ride. Went out, kind of used the Harley app and found a ride and went on it, and it was great. Really, really enjoyable. Found a bar. It was Polecat Bar. So like an open air bar right on the side of the road. Great people. Ran into some Harley people and had a really good conversation with everybody about everything around the area and what they're up to, and it was very, very, very enjoyable spot. And if you ever going that way, you see the sign for Polecats, pull in, man. Good spot, great people, so generous, and just happy to just chew the fat. Middle of the afternoon on a weekday, and people just very encouraging, I guess, is the thing, that the world is still goddamn normal, and it's just a small amount of dum-dums that are wrecking it for the rest of us. So it was a great afternoon. So then we left there, we went back to the trailer, we packed it up. The next morning we moved over to the west side of San Antonio. We moved over to the west side. We stayed at a real RV park. Full hookup, laundry, did our laundry, all that kind of jazz. Got that all done, settled. The next morning we were to ride the Twisted Sisters, Texas Twisted Sisters. That's Ranch Road 335, 36, and 37. The Bent Rim Restaurant was our end target for the afternoon. So that night before, Linda was sitting outside. I was working in the trailer, and wind started blowing really fast gusts. Just about took our awning off the trailer. .650 V-Strom slow, eh? It's not. Anyway, so we buttoned down the trailer. I put extra blocks in front of the wheels because we were sitting on a really unlevel site. The wedges were kind of sinking in a bit in the Texas heat, so I did that. We woke up in the morning and there was no way we were going to ride. It was windy the whole day. So we had a few maintenance things we needed, food, and so we did groceries and did all that kind of stuff. We had a little bit of rain and we just set up that we were going to be ready for the next day. And so the next day came and it was absolutely beautiful. And we headed out, headed for the fuel stop, pulled in, TPMS alarm, low tire pressure. Got off the bike, walked around the bike, looked down, there's a nail in the back tire. And it was still half the tread. It had a long bit of life left in it, so a little sad about that. But then it was like, well, now we've got to ride back. So we pumped up the tire and we headed out for San Antonio. Caliente Harley Davidson. So for Chris Caliente, they named a Harley dealership after a Goldwing guy. So we got there probably around 11:30 and walked in. I told them who we were and where we were from, and that we had a nail in our tire and it was leaking. They just went, "Where's the bike?" And we went, "It's right here, right outside the door." So they went out, took down all the info on it, gave him my hog card, came back out. He says, "Okay, we got 3 different tires. The only one that I would have taken was the original Harley, the original Harley tire. The Dunlop Elite, American Elite, they didn't have any. They were sold out." So I said, "Okay, give me the Harley one." And I said, it has to be high speed balanced. You cannot just balance it at 80 kilometers an hour, because we basically never run that speed. The guy's like, "No, we high speed balance all the time. That's all we do." And I said, "Okay." So, and I said, "No beads." He said, "Absolutely not." So I was like, "Okay." So it ended up, they go, "Oh, it's your lucky day because those tires are on sale, and we're also got a deal on the, I think it was like no tax as well for anything that you bought there." Half an hour they had us done. They offered to wash the bike as well, and then we declined because they said that would take about 40 minutes to do, and we said, "No, we got to get going. We're late to get the ride done." So 60 miles back, and on the ride we go, and we do the 337 up the 336, to the 335 and then back down to the 337 to finish off the loop. We got to the Bent Rim restaurant at 6:01 p.m. They closed at 6, and they wouldn't even allow us to buy a patch. They just said, no, till's closed. We said, like, we're from Canada, we're never going to be back. We just want to get the patch. We've ridden the ride, you know, that's all we want. No. So somebody go in there, buy me a patch and send it to me, because I did the deed, but I didn't get the trophy. So wow, that's real windy. Wah, 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 wah. So we got the Twisted Sisters out of the way. We got back to the campsite. We rolled the trailer forward. We loaded the bike, ready for the morning, all hooked up. Let out of there, and we headed back. We ended up going through Louisiana, up through Alabama, stayed over, truck stop in Louisiana, and we did Boondockers Welcome a couple of nights in Alabama. Road, there was a ride there, nice little loop around a small lake. It was about a 60-mile loop. We should have done it twice. We only did it once. We should have done it twice, but it was okay. It was fine. So we were able to get the Twisted Sister ride in. We got all that. We ended up doing that little lake ride in Alabama, and then we headed out for Chattanooga. I was trying to hook up with Ty from Tennessee, but that never occurred. Communication breakdown, I guess the best way to put that one. But anyway, we left the next morning from there, and we headed to North Carolina, where we met up with Patrick, Moto Ramblings. So where are we?
You were in Candler, North Carolina.
Candler. You know these people. No introduction required. I told them we'd made it to the KOA and gave them the address. They come right over, and I'd already unloaded the bike. I had it parked ready to go. We were assuming that we'd go for a quick night ride just to zip around and see what there was, and the Harley wouldn't start. The starter would engage, the starter would spin, but the starter didn't have enough power to turn the engine. So apparently there's a clutch in these starters, and the clutch was going probably while that starter was still under warranty, but can't prove it now. But so he says, well, I got good news and I got bad news. And I said, well, what's the good news? He says, we got a battery. I said, so the bad news is you don't have a starter. And he goes, correct. I said, okay, well, they rebuild these things, so do you have the rebuild, the clutch shaft? Can I just buy that and I'll just put it in? Then he comes back and he says, apparently you can't buy that part for the starter. They don't rebuild them anymore. How fast can you get me a starter? I start looking around the showroom, and the guy goes, no, there's no way they're gonna pull one and take it out of a new bike. There is absolutely no way. He says, I've been here 13 years, they've never done it yet. I was like, where's the boss? And he pointed him out. So we went over and talked to him, and wow, we went over and had a chat with him. I told him where we were from and the predicament I was in. He said, okay, he says, leave it with me for a couple minutes. I'll see what we can do for you. I was like, thank you. So we just wandered around for 15 minutes or so, and he came back out and he goes, okay, he says, here's the deal. We'll find a bike here with the suitable parts. We'll take it out, but here's the thing. You have to pay us to take it out, and you have to pay us to put another one back in it, and you have to pay for overnight shipping to have that starter delivered tomorrow, so that bike is only out of a starter for 1 day. And I said, okay, so what's the damage? And he said, well, it's like $730 plus the battery. And I was like, wow. So then by the time they got I said, whatever you got to do, I got to go. Like, we got to roll. So we're on a big vacation. We're not stopping. So do what you got to do. So they pulled the starter. They brought it to me. Got a battery. And then when they're doing up the bill, they said, oh, we made a mistake because we actually charged you to put the starter into your bike, but obviously we're not going to do that. You're going to do that. And I said, yeah, like I can do it. That's fine. They were like, oh, okay. So it ended up being about almost the exact same amount of money, whole thing with the battery. So convert that over to Canadian, about 1,000 Canadian to get a starter and a battery and get me back on the road. But they helped. They got it done. I understand, you know, you got to pay when you're playing. So that morning we got the bike running. So off we go. Patrick takes us on a tour and we end up on the Blue Ridge Parkway. We stopped at all the lookouts that were of any advantage to us and got the cameras out, photoed everything, and Patrick took our photos for us and so that we could both be in the shots, and we got some really fantastic pictures which I'll put up on the screen. And you all can see what we got. So we spent the whole day with Patrick. Blue Ridge Parkway. Linda said that was the topper of the trip as far as scenic rides, so that's one to be going back again. And then after the ride, he took us to a local pizza bar for their bike night. All kinds of different bikes, and everybody just absolutely so friendly, and just it was just a pleasure. We were damn exhausted from all the running around and the up not sleeping because of the bike and stuff like that we couldn't enjoy it as much as we probably would have, but it was still extremely enjoyable. But man, were we tired when we got back to the trailer. So then again, it was, we loaded her up and packed up camp and off we went again. And we ended up in the state of Maryland. They then the next day hooked up with John from Road Reality. Now I have to say, there was a combination. The Princess and John together, man oh man. Two with the gift of gab together. It was quite an event. So John took us on a tour of his roads and took us to Chick-fil-A, which we'd never had before, and like, oh, we gotta go. So then it was off we went, right? So went to that, and he bid goodbye and off he went. And the next day we packed up and we headed for New Hampshire, and we stayed at our friend's home for 3 nights. And then on the Monday morning we went and got the trailer and we headed her home, and we were home that night. About 10 o'clock we got home. And successful trip.